歡迎大家出席。
Welcome to today's press briefing. We have with us head of the Communicable Disease Branch Center for Health Protection, Dr. Chang Shok-kwan, and Chief Manager of the Hospital Authority, Dr. Sarah Ho. The two doctors will give us an update about number of cases as well as the situation in DHA. Good afternoon. Yesterday we have local positive cases, 2,943 cases, including 1,414 cases, PCR positive cases, and verified RAT cases, 1,529 cases. We have 212 imported cases, 165 are PCR positive cases, and 46 are RAT positive cases. Death cases we have received from the HA 2 cases. In the fifth wave, we have 9,209 death cases. Now we hear from the HA. Currently, we have 1,031 patients staying in hospitals, of which 160 are new cases. Those who are in isolation facilities, 323 of them are in isolation wards, 22 of them are in a second-tier isolation ward. 317 cases are in the North Atlanta Hong Kong Infection Control Center. There are 128 of new cases. Yesterday, we have reported 4 cases in a critical condition, 5 in a serious condition. Currently, those who are staying in hospital, there are 18 patients in a critical condition, 30 in a serious condition. 9 patients in a critical condition are in the ICU. We have 1 new case, a 102-year-old female who passed away yesterday. A 65-year-old male passed away the day before yesterday. They were not from care homes. One's got 2 doses and one has no vaccination record. Now we hear from Dr. Chang. 212 imported cases. 101 of them are picked up at the airport. 67 are picked up at quarantine hotels. 43 have already left the quarantine hotel. From the following 4 countries have recorded over 10 cases. UK, 53 cases, US 20, Thailand 12, Australia 11. For care homes, there are 4 such homes with new cases. There are close contacts that have been sent to quarantine. They are 基督教家庭服務中心、慈善基金景林安老院. There is 1 resident. Several people staying in the same area will have to be quarantined. For other residents and staff members, they have to do PCR tests. 長青安老院, 1 resident. There are 2 residents staying in the same place that have to be quarantined. The other residents and staff members will have to do PCR tests. Caritas 欣翠苑, 1 resident, and 3 residents staying in the same place will have to be quarantined. 南華護老院第一分院, 1 resident and 3 residents staying at the same place that have to be quarantined. For schools, today's Wednesday. 387 positive cases from 309 schools. They are 314 students and 73 staff members from 71 kindergarten childcare center, 129 primary schools, 104 secondary schools, and 5 special schools. In the past 7 days, there are 169 schools that have reported at least 2 cases. We have recommended the following 4 schools to suspend certain classes for 1 week. They are 神召會第一小學, a kindergarten, AM session, 20 students with 2 cases. Marino Primary School, class 4A, 3 students. There are 29 students in the class. 神召會華人同工聯會景城幼稚園 is a kindergarten. K2B, 19 students with 2 cases, and 荃灣 Government School, Class 1B 何傳耀小學, there are 30 students. For subvariant cases, for suspected BA.2.12.1, there are 58 cases, 40 of them with an unknown source and 18 linked to other cases. Suspected BA4 or 5, 24 cases. There are 9 cases that are linked with other cases and 15 currently with an unknown source. That's all for my report today. In the past day, 109 patients have recovered, including 100 patients that have been discharged. 2 patients are identified upon the admission screening. 2 patients in the same cubicle and staff members have been classified as close contact. We have 61 staff members that have been confirmed. So far, 24,906 staff members have been infected. 19 staff members have resumed their duties. Altogether, there are 24,534 staff members that have resumed duty. In relation to the orthopedics ward in the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, there are 2 staff members that have been confirmed. Together with the 10th and 11th of July press releases, those that have been tested positive, there are 2 patients and 2 staff members from this ward that have been tested positive. They are being isolated for treatment. Their condition is stable. For this ward, there won't be any visitation and there won't be any admission of new cases. Thorough disinfection has been conducted. For radiology QE hospital, there are 2 nurses and 5 doctors that have been tested positive between the 9th and the 11th of July. The hospital has conducted contact tracing. All staff members have been wearing proper personal protective equipment. Control unit has been conducting investigation on epidemiological link. In relation to the confirmed staff members, they are now in isolation. The unit has not been affected in terms of operation. We have 1,000 people having been admitted. For new cases, it has increased significantly, which is worrying. We're closely monitoring the situation in relation to admission. In relation to demands on manpower as well as isolation beds, we will monitor the situation and make adjustments to make sure that in public hospitals there will be sufficient facilities and manpower to take care of the patients. Currently, there are more confirmed cases in the community. Quite a number of them have got an unknown source. So we'll continue to strengthen testing requirements of patients and staff members. A few days ago, we have announced that we will enhance discharge testing. Before patients are discharged, there will be PCR tests conducted to make sure that they are not infectious before they are allowed to return to care homes. For staff members, all those working for the HA will have to do an RAT before they go to work every day. In the near future, we will enhance our testing arrangements. For those who are in charge of vulnerable patients, we will, through the enhanced testing arrangements, reduce transmission within the hospital. That's all for my report. Now the floor is open for questions. Identify your media outlet before you ask questions. The one in white. I'm from Now TV. First of all, in relation to Shenzhen Bay, we still see confirmed cases that are allowed to leave and they had to find taxis themselves. When will you be able to put in place the point-to-point arrangement? We see that for CT value standards, they're different from in Hong Kong and in the mainland. So someone with a certain certification will find that they're not allowed to enter at Shenzhen Bay only when they get there. Will you make sure that more information is made available to them? Well, yesterday it was said that there will be follow-up actions taken for those who are allowed to leave at Shenzhen Bay after having been found to be positive. Professor Low said that there might be conditions for quarantine-free travel in November. So what's the percentage of confirmed cases in the airport as well as hotels?
For those who are leaving at Shenzhen port from Hong Kong, they will have to take an RAT. And at the mainland's requirement is you have to test negative for RAT. So 48 hours prior to departure, members of the public have to come up with negative test results at the community testing center, and then after that they will take an RAT at Shenzhen Bay. And they can leave Hong Kong only with the negative results. And maybe 24 or 48 hours have passed, and the negative results may not be valid anymore. They might be positive cases, and the CT value is rather high, and they can't meet with the relevant mainland requirement. So we ask them to take point-to-point transport, say to take a cab or taxi home. And if he is a positive case and has not been a positive case in Hong Kong, maybe has not been tested before, or he can make a declaration on our platform. We will follow up duly on their positive report. And based on the 5-tier arrangements, we will arrange for him to go to, say, an isolation center or be isolated at home. As for imported cases, and what is your second question again? What is the percentage of positive cases identified at the hotels or the airport? If there is quarantine-free travel, would that pose a risk to the community? The government has been saying that the imported cases take up less than 10% of all cases. And in the local community, there have been a lot of transmission chains. So imported cases have not been posing a great threat to Hong Kong. Next question. The one behind. I'm from cable TV. In November, there may be a quarantine-free or travel. And he said that September will be the peak period of the rebound. Does the CHP come up with the same assessment? And in Macau, over 1,600 people have been affected. How come that return to Hong Kong, come to Hong Kong have not been suspended? And in the mainland cities where there is an increase of, say, 1 to 2 cases, the mechanism has been stopped. Are there double standards? So is there a great risk of importation of cases from Macau? And also Maryknoll Convent School, the primary school section, there are 5 students infected. Have you identified the source? Did they have meals together, or did they take part in group activities in class? Well, we would like to make the best preparations for the worst case scenario. I think I have answered your question in relation to Macau. In Macau, for infected cases, their health code will turn red, and if they have symptoms, the health code will turn yellow, and they can't come to Hong Kong. So that's the policy at Macau in preventing exportation of cases. So far, we haven't seen any imported cases from Macau. Imported cases now take up less than 10% of all cases in Hong Kong. And in fact, there is a high risk of a local transmission here in the community. As for the primary section of the Maryknoll Convent School, did I mention this school? Three students in class 4A, as like the others. Did I say 5 students? And maybe most of these cases are infected through channels in the community. So to play safe, we've asked the class to be suspended for 1 week. School is no different from other schools. I'm from Orange News. First, for suspected BA.4, BA.5, local cases with unknown source, what is the distribution? Do you have their addresses? And for there are over 80 subvariant cases. And for BA.2.12.1 and BA.4 and BA.5, how many cases in total? And experts say that there might be a doubling of the cases related to subvariants in, say, the next 2 to 3 weeks. Is there a high possibility of that happening there? And actually, you mentioned about 2 death cases. Who took 2 jabs and who took 1 jab? Now, before they passed away, were they chronic patients? Suspected BA.4, BA.5 cases, which are untraceable, while they are located in Hong Kong, New Territories, in Kowloon, and in Jinwan, Choi King Court, Kwai Chung Check-in House, Ma On Shan, Hai Pak Fa Yuen Block 1, Tai Koo Shing, Lin Gok, and Yuen Long, Long Ping Bat Ho, and To Ka Wang, Long Po Do, and Tin Shui Wai, Tin Fu Court, K, Block K, Ao Chi Wan, Block 1, Choi Fai Estate, Choi Wai House, and Laguna City, Block 14, Con Not Road, Shen Lei Estate, Lei Hong House, Bel Air Residence, Block 8, Hiu Feng Wan Bun, Block 4, Pak Wai Yuen, Hong Pak Gok, Tai Koo Shing, Zeng Tien Sing Gok, and BA.4, BA.5 cases. In our press release every day, these cases are mentioned. Maybe you can take a look. Well, in yesterday's press release, we said that as of yesterday, as of the 11th of July, suspected local cases of BA.2.12.1, 705 cases, and BA.4, BA.5, 80 to 90 cases. For the male patient who passed away, he's 65 years old, and he took 2 jabs. And for this male patient, when he was admitted, he was found to have serious abdominal pain. On the clinical side, that has to do with a problem with his main artery, blood artery. So the case has been referred to the coroner's court for further follow-up to ascertain his cause of death. And the other one is a 102-year-old female, old lady. She suffered from hypertension. She had kidney failures. Next one. The journalist over here. I'm from Hong Kong 01. I have 2 questions, and that is also about Shenzhen Bay. Now, today, we are still seeing confirmed patients being allowed to leave on their own. Do you think this is desirable? Apart from arranging for point-to-point transport, the administration said that you would consider sending them to the isolation facilities. How can you make sure that they return home through point-to-point transport? There will be a new platform to be launched tomorrow in relation to Shenzhen Bay travelers and the related PCR tests. Now, if the person tests positive, how will you deal with it? Well, we don't have the details on the specific arrangements. I can't give you an answer now. Next question. The one at the front, please.
Okay, so you mentioned that the HA will step up tests for HA staff. So what tests will they be? Will they be PCR tests or RAT? And also for those who were found positive at Shenzhen border, how to prevent them from transmitting the virus to the community? Thank you.
Maybe I'll answer first. I would like to, we have a lot of community transmission in the community. A lot of people are, once they are confirmed, they are advised to go back home. by point-to-point transport, even if they are at work. So after that, we'll issue an isolation order for them according to their environmental condition in their household.
So at the moment, all HA staff need to perform the RAT test in the morning before they report duty. So our scheme is to increase, likely they do the PCR test for a particular group of staff that are mainly taking care of a vulnerable group that are more susceptible to the infections. So this measure is to enhance the infection control measures in hospital.
我哋問最後一題，後邊嗰位女士。Last question. I'm from Mingpao. First of all, for CHP, you mentioned about 4 cases of care homes. Can you give us more information about vaccination? How many residents and staff members that have to be tested? We see that for 10 countries, we see BA 2.75. What is your assessment of this subvariant in Hong Kong? Previously, you announced a contingency plan. What's the trigger point? When daily admission reaches a certain level, say for example at the end of July, 312 people being admitted, then this will trigger the next stage or what? It's not mentioned in the contingency plan how the AWE is going to be used. I see that there are more and more admission cases, but there is a decreasing number of cases for people in care homes under quarantine. So would you mobilize the 2 halls in AWE to stand by? For 南華護老院第一分院, the confirmed person has received 1 dose. For 明愛, for Caritas 欣翠院 3 doses. 長青安老院 2 doses. And 基督教家庭服務中心景林安老院 3 doses. In relation to close contacts, there are a number of them that have to be quarantined. PCR tests are for everyone in the care home. That means for Lam Hua is 31 residents and 6 staff members. Yan Chui Yuen 137 residents and 79 staff members. Changqing An Lao Yuen 116 residents and 57 staff members. Ging Long An Lao Yuen 87 residents and 10 staff members. You talk about BA.2.75, we will keep in view the recommendation of WHO. For the contingency plan, we will work on the basis of the prediction, number of admissions, length of stay, when we work out our plan. At the same time, we will consider the trend of the epidemic as well as utilization of our beds. For AWE, Asia World Expo, it's one of our backup plan. That's the end of the press conference. Thank you. It is under discussion. We will give you more details later.